Saturday, the 25th day in the month of October 2025. Warm welcome to Matters Arising, a program that critically discusses and analyzes matters of national interest. Comes your way every Saturday from 21 to 22:15. Now, Zambia yesterday commemorated 61 years of our independence under the banner of peace and unity. Zambia still stands tall, proud of its rich history, resilient people, and unwavering spirit. For decades, Zambians have been shaped by the courage of our forefathers and the determination of the people. On the show tonight, we shall take a deep reflection, examination, and exploration on the progress we've made, the challenges first, and the opportunities that await us. I'm your host, as always. My name is Paul Shingongo. My guest, 62-year-old Mufulira-born politician, one that many have described as the king maker. He's been involved in the making of various presidents in the country. Dr. Kelvin Fube Bwalya is my guest tonight. Born just a year before Zambia attained independence in 1964. He's the president of Zambia Must Prosper. He joins me on Matters Arising tonight. Mr. President, welcome to Prime TV, specifically. Welcome to Matters Arising.
Thank you very much, and good evening, viewers.
Awesome. Remember that this is an interactive program. Like always, there is a number on your screen, time allowing. We should be able to hear from you, but also don't forget that we're also live on our various platforms on Topstar, Go TV, DSTV, Zuku, and Star Times. But we are also streaming this program on our social media platform, that is on Facebook, Prime Television Zambia. Go there, drop in your comments, questions, and contributions. We'll be glad to hear from you. Doc, first time I'm interacting with you. I'm wondering why our paths have not been meeting. But glad that finally you are here. Yesterday was a very historic day for the country. You were born a year just before Zambia got independence? Is that correct?
Months.
Just a few
April
months?
1963.
1963. How does this make you feel? So you've seen the country get independence.
Yeah. I was a baby when the Hakaindes were fighting for independence, leading up to him becoming the first prime minister and then first president of the republic. And as I was growing up, I began to see things coming, evolving. And I saw quite a bit, especially the First Republic transcending to the Second Republic, and then the tensions between UNIP and UPP. You know, they were together first, and then they split, and it was a mambo jumbo. But it was a good time to grow up, because you interacted with the freedom fighters, and then got to see them become more or less adversaries. And then eventually the one-party state was born, and it became an issue we had to live with. And we lived under it, most of us, during that time.
Do you think we have celebrated the strides, that we attained in 1964 enough, even as we, of course, usually talk about, yes, we are politically free, but how have we celebrated these independence the way we should?
The first few years after independence, our freedom fighters belonged to one party, UNIP, and it was a very consolidated crop of leaders. They had shared paths of history. They had shared paths of struggles, and they understood each other. But I think the nation's historical development must be broken into phases. Because somewhere along the line, after the 1968 elections, cracks began to appear in UNIP. And then issues of who was to lead and who couldn't lead became an issue. So by the 70s, it was clear that the first Republican president, Kenneth David Kaunda, realized that tribalism was beginning to emerge, camps, cartels, and therefore he wanted to form what he termed then as a one-party participatory democracy. That in itself also brought a bit of problems. And I think, looking back in the years, that formed and shaped our dispensation, because Kapwepwe, Simon Mwansaka Pwepwe, who was very close to Kaunda, they grew up together in Chinsari from the Lubwa missions at the time. Kaunda's father was a missionary from Malawi. Kapwepwe was a local within Chinsari, Kapasa Makasa, and all those leaders there. They felt that Kaunda had betrayed them by introducing a one-party participatory democracy, because they wanted multi-party democracy to continue. So Kapwepwe went ahead and formed what he termed as a United Progressive Party. But this was seen to be a tribal party, because most of the members there came from Northern Circuit, and then they began to fight. So Kaunda then decreed that there was only going to be one party. If you remember, I don't know how old you are, but the Choma Declaration ushered in unity. The ANC was on the one side, and this UPP on the other, UNIP on the other. There were fragments. But Kaunda said, let's stick together. We are not ready for this yet, maybe later. And as time would evolve, that is how Kaunda stayed in power for a very long time. And elections were really within UNIP. You had to belong to just one party. There were underground movements which were still fighting to ensure that this one-party participatory democracy animal was destroyed. Obviously, rallying behind Simon Mwansaka Pwepwe. Further, I recall that a lot of opposition leaders were being imprisoned that time under what they used to term as the preservation of public security. Then there was no explanation. If the special branch or the OP suspected you to be against the government, you were clamped. They gave you whatever false charges they gave you, and they threw you in custody, and that's it. Unfortunately, I must confess that I'm a bit biased here, because my father was a victim of this animal called the one-party participatory democracy and the preservation of public security. Yeah, many times. I didn't grow up with my father.
He was a politician.
He was a politician. My father was a politician. He was a youth growing up in the days of freedom struggle. He became regional secretary on the Copper Belt, and he grew up very close to the likes of Kapwepwe, John Chisata, Chambeshi, Mucheleka, Vaputa, things like that. People like that were very core to the UPP sector, and they knew that Kaunda was trying to elongate his stay in power. So every 2 years, 3 years, we knew that my father was going to be picked up. I recall, for instance, when I was in Form 3, the last arrest he suffered was on the 20th of September 1978. And the next time I saw my father, I was almost completing my first year at university.
No.
Oh, yeah. I wrote my Form 3 without my father. I wrote my Form 5 without my father. I went to national service, no father. Selected to go to university, no father. Went into university and almost completing my first year at university.
That's when he was released?
That's when Kaunda released them. But graciously, the old man was good. He called them and he asked them for reconciliation. They prayed together and he gave them jobs. My father, I recall, was given to run Zambia Steel and Building Supplies at the time. It was a parastatal in Kitwe. And some benefits were given to them. The Sinkambas, my father, the Chambeshis, Jackson Mutalis, Muchelekas, the John Chisatas, Musakanyas, people like that. He was forgiving Kaunda. And,
was he?
In a way
many
he was.
have argued that aspect.
No.
Because many have said, look,
I've lived under the KK regime. I've lived under the Chuluba regime and all the presidents. I can tell you that when you confronted Kaunda with facts, he was able to draw you in. And all he wanted perhaps was unity. And I'm a son of an ex-detainee. And I could see it. My father was willing to forgive and his friends, but it was a teaching which was practical, and we had to go through that. I know that the sons and daughters of people like the Putas, the Sinkambas, the Chisatas, they suffered the same fate as me. But we had to forgive and move on, because at least our education was then free, really free, and we didn't suffer much. Yes, we suffered the absence of fathers, absence of guidance growing up, but eventually, look at us. We're still here. Yeah, so I enjoyed those days. And I met the old man, the first president, Hakainde, quite late in life. And we had chats. And he was able to remember my father.
Okay.
And his friends, and we had words. And he asked me directly, what do you think of me now? And I told him, my father forgave you, who am I? And we were able to move on.
Have we celebrated our forefathers enough? The Kaundas, the Kapepwes, the Nkumbulas. Do you think we've celebrated them enough for what they did for the country?
No. I think Zambia tends to gloss over issues. We are a generation that is in the now, and we tend to forget our history easily. But also, I think that the governments that have come, the successive governments that have come up, they seem to want to erase our history very easily, which I think is a shame. If you want to know where you're going, you must know where you're coming from. And you must appreciate that certain decisions that were taken at the time they were taken, they could have been cruel, they could have been painful, but at the time, maybe our leaders felt that needed to be done. So we haven't celebrated people, for instance, like Harry Mwanga Nkumbula. I'll tell you, I know for a fact that just before independence, there was a very serious election, which ended up with UNIP having 15 seats, ANC having 15 seats, and I know the nationalists, the Muzungus, also had 15 seats. There was no clear majority winner at the time. And at that time, games had to be played. Political gimmicks, gymnastics had to be played. Kaunda, with his cabinet at the time, they called people like Vijay Mwanga, I think Mungoni Liso, Munkombwes, the young men at the time, but from Southern Province. I think the winners were part of that group as well. They had to go and convince the old lion, Harry Mwanga Nkumbula, that he had to give in to independence, because without that transition, there was a deadlock, and power was going to be transferred from the Muzungus. So a coalition had to be made. So this issue we're discussing today of alliances, coalitions, it hasn't begun now. No, it started a long time ago. But it's history that we seem to want to gloss over and just ignore. No. We must learn from such things. But what I have learned over and above is the patriotism and the discipline of our forefathers. Whenever it came to make a decision between self-interest and the nation, they decided the nation came first. Equally with Harry Mwanga Nkumbula, when we talk about the Choma Declaration, I think of 1972-73, people gloss over it. It was a very serious milestone. People who brought the Barotse Agreement into play, we gloss over that as well. If we were not careful, we could have had the Biafra of 1963 in the Nigerias. People needed to play. People needed to bring these forces together so that that history has to be studied and appreciated. When you hear of the Lindunjan Dambo or whatever they call themselves today from Western Province, it is not that they are looking for a province to be seceded per se. No, it is about recognition. We did this. and we gave in. And what have you done for us? So it's about development. For me, those are issues which have not been addressed adequately. And as a politician, I am not blind to the fact that there are certain areas which need attention. There are certain things that we need to recognize and appreciate and celebrate, if that's the word. And I also know that the Northwesterners had a role to play in politics. We had people coming from Northwestern Province who also sacrificed from different levels and at different levels. They've also been ignored. And those are things which any politician worth the salt today must take into account, bringing himself to the fore to say, I understand my nation's history, and this is how I would like to move with this nation. So, celebrating, no, I don't think so. We haven't celebrated.
What needs to be done for us to be at a point where we can confidently say that, look, we are celebrating our forefathers enough?
The first thing I would say is we should change our educational syllabus. Yeah. Our educational syllabus, I think, gives a bit of bias towards just the people that were in the cabinet, Hakainde. But they don't speak about the people that made other sacrifices. That, to me, is important. And when you look at some of the difficulties that came from the various other provinces, which still seem to persist today, it's coming from that history and that lack of recognition. I know for a fact that if Harry Mwangankumbla did not do what he did, we would not have gotten independence, we would have probably gotten into struggles, maybe would have gone into war. If the people who were in the Barotse province did not sign off the Barotse agreement, we would have not had Zambia unifying to become one unitary state as we are today. So all these sacrifices must be as part of our social studies, not our history per se. Our children must learn it in social studies, in civics, and appreciate where we're coming from. It shouldn't just come up because some people begin to make noise in Western Province. It shouldn't just come up because we see the ugly head of tribalism coming up. We must understand what's the core. What is it? What started this? Where did it come from? Everything has a genesis. And that is what a good politician does. I'm not saying I'm the best politician, but I'm saying I'm alive to our history. Yes.
Awesome. But also, one of the things that is quite predominant with a number of leaders that were there during that time, and I like the fact that you keep on re-echoing that word, is sacrifice. A number of them sacrificed, their peace. They sacrificed. Your own father, detained that you don't remember spending a lot of time with him because he was in prison, and many others.
Yes.
Do we still have these leaders now? The crop of leaders we have today, can we say that they have adopted this sacrificial leadership that our forefathers exhibited?
With the greatest respect, no. What we have now are popcorn leaders. We have too many people in politics who are not politicians.
Too many people in politics who are not politicians?
Yes. I'll repeat that. We have too many people in politics who are not politicians. I call them opportunists. These are people who see an opportunity and they want to enter politics and they think it's about business. It's about gaining something. It's about, no. Politics is about service to your nation. It's about how much do you want to sacrifice for the nation. It's not about you. It's about the nation first. Our forefathers, if they were selfish people, they would have been bought by the colonialists and would not have gained this independence. I may have glossed over this, but Harry Mwangankumbla was bribed by the Mzungus. That story can be told far much better by people like VJ, the late Mungoni Liso, I wish he was alive, the Munkombwes, but VJ is alive and his brain is still quite active. You can ask him that story. He'll tell you how they went to convince the old lion that this is the right way to go. The Mzungus reached out to Harry, left money, left cigarettes, left whatever they wanted, and whatever other enticements they thought the old lion would like. He took it, but he did the Don Chikubeba. See, he took it and he promised them, yes, I'm going to do what you're asking me to do. But when the young Turks, as they were, then arrived from the Kaunda camp, he told them, I've received this, but I want to do what they want. I shall do this and we shall go together. Sacrifice. You must always understand that the British always had a divide and rule policy. And unfortunately, Harry Mwanga Nkumbula was steps ahead of them. He flipped and the cards changed. Independence came. So today, I don't see that. What I see is a lot of young so-called politicians trying to rush into leadership when they don't have anything to offer. Ask some of these young leaders popping up today, you want to be president of Zambia? Yes. Do you have a manifesto? Just ask.
There's an argument right now that we have too many people wanting to be president.
Yeah, well, it's an argument the Zambians can make. For instance, in the Malawi case, these recent elections, there were 18 people on the ballot as president. But when the votes were being counted, only 4 really mattered. You understand? It's the same scenario. But I pray that my brothers, especially who are younger, they still have a bit of time to learn. They still have a bit of time to understand things. They should be willing to humble themselves and understand. No, things take time. And in Bemba we say, the wisdom of the wise. In Bemba there's a saying that you can't teach an old man experience. He knows. He's been there. So when he sees a shade, he knows what the shade will give him. Coolness of the day. So these young men trying to come up, it's not like we're trying to discourage them. No. We're trying to say, do you have enough?
Maybe it's because they've also seen that the experienced men, the men who know, where Chinterolo is and what it can do, have disappointed them. They remember words of veteran politician, Daniel Monkombwe. He says, we are into politics to eat. and they see, the lifestyles of these politicians once they assume, they get into office,
right,
how their lives change. and it's no longer about the people. So they think, look, maybe let's offer this leadership because the people should be learning from are disappointing us.
That's a very good observation. It's true. But you see, I've always said leadership is about character. And we must be able to assess our characters as individuals. When you put yourself on a scale, weigh yourself. You just don't say, I want to lead. Yes, you want to lead. Yes, the youths are in the majority. But yeah, so you've got to understand that when you're young, there's certain experiences that you may not have. This is not America, which is 200 plus years old. No. This is not the UK, which is thousands of years old, where we've got systems which are established and systems which are clear. Part of the problem we're faced up with today are the lack of systems. A new government comes into play, it clears all the institutional memories, fires people, etc., bringing your own crop of people. You can never develop like that. And this is all based on tribalism, it's based on nepotism, it's based on the lack of understanding what government is really meant to do. So when you come in as a young person, there are so many questions that will be on your table. There are so many temptations that will be on your table. Are you strong enough? Not just to look for the presidency, not just to look for the leadership, but are you experienced enough to handle the pressures of the office before we get a scandal?
Vijay handled that office at 21.
Yes, he was an ambassador, he wasn't president.
Yeah, that's a huge role.
Yes,
especially then. Even now, if we were to say 21-year-old as an ambassador, there's no one close to that age who's serving.
Yeah, but you must understand where we're coming from. This is where the historical disposition is. When we were coming into to get independence, we had 100 graduates. we had 1,000 teachers. That's who we were at the time. Today, we have enough. So you've got to look at that. Those numbers don't lie. And you've got to understand the system that was there. It was established by the colonial masters. It was a strong system. Today, we have more or less eroded that system. So we've got to get back and streamline our system. Today, what holds the Zambian government together? The way the British lined up their administration, the civil service was supposed to be run by people who were, one, educated, two, who were going to be technocrats to advise the politicians, because they knew the politicians will come and go. That is why they were called permanent secretaries. Permanent. You understand? So to rise to the position of permanent secretary, you had to know the system. Not just come and appoint somebody to make him permanent secretary because he aligns with the policies of the day. No, he needed to be a civil servant. That's what holds the British system together. It's the monarch and the civil service. The Labour Party can come, go. Conservative Party can come, go. Civil service remains the same. The monarch remains the same. That's what holds that. What holds Zambia today? Don't answer, let it simmer. That is what we must get back to. If you're trying to do political administration, you must understand, I want to get into government. I'm going to have power to appoint so many people. What am I looking for? It's not about jobs for the boys, friends, relatives. No. That's the mistake that has been made today. And we have a problem. The government is not functioning. You've heard the president of this country, for instance, say, the government is not functioning the way we want it to function. The civil servants are not aligned with us. They can't be aligned when you want to shove things down their throats and they're telling you, but regulation Chakuti says this, rule number Chakuti says, a civil servant works on what? Authority. In other words, he wants to know, Minister, you want me to do this? Yes. What's the regulation, sir? How am I going to justify this tomorrow? Because I might be fired. That's how a civil servant works. A civil servant works on authority. So if you want me to do this, sir, put it in writing. I'll do it, but put it in writing. Half the politicians refuse, but they want verbal instructions. Civil service is not like that. It's about 1, statute, 2, regulations, 3, protocols, 5, circulars. That's how a civil service operates.
We've departed from that.
We're almost departing from that. Almost. And most of that is because we're not making or appointing civil servants, especially senior ones, on merit. We are not appointing on merit. And I'm sorry to say, that's killing the civil service. So we need a leader who understands what the civil service must be and how it must be administered, and respect the civil servants, and promise the civil servants that for you to be a permanent secretary, you will rise through the ranks, assistant director, director, then you'll be aiming to be PS.
So
that is how it should work.
If it were up to you, you'd advocate for PSs to rise through the ranks.
There must be career civil servants, yes, because they know the systems, they know the procedures, and they'll be advising the politicians. Remember, we as politicians come in for 5 years. After that, we have to still fight for our seats. The civil servants must remain. Now, if you come in, they'll tell you, what are your policies as a political party? Yes, but these are the rules. This is how government operates. So, can we fit your policy into these rules? That's how it should be. Not this, the rules fitting into your policy. It can't work. And that's where the UPnd is finding it difficult. Because they're trying to force the civil service to change. And the civil servants are saying, no, we don't work like that. We work on these rules. That's the problem.
Sometimes, Mr. President, many have argued that, look, this experience you're talking about, we have had people, that have failed us. Maybe before even I get there, do you think that we've had a president, from KK to the current one, who has respected the civil service?
Yes.
Someone that we can give credit to?
Yes. I think if you look at the first president, he didn't change much in terms of civil service. because basically the politicians moved in, but the civil service was run by the Brits, the colonial masters. They hadn't left by then, so they knew how to run the offices, and they understood what they needed to do. They were advising the politicians. When Bachuruba came, we began to see cracks, because then it was about giving some people some employment and making them happy, and also having stayed under 27 years of Hakainde, there was a bit of nostalgia, and people wanted change, so they needed some movement of sorts. But running back to people like Levi Patrick Mwanawasa knew what he wanted, and he respected the civil service. I know that RB did the same. I know that
Respected the civil service?
Yes, to a certain degree, yes.
Okay.
Wasat was basically, he grew up as within the ranks of government. So he understood the civil service, and he respected that. So you can see leadership like that. But when you come to, for instance, the 7th Republican president, the current president, he wanted to take a business mentality into the civil service. It can't work. The civil service is not business. No, they don't work like that. And this is where he's saying that they're not moving at our pace.
Wanted to take the business mentality into the civil service?
For instance, when you have a CEO mentality, when you decide today you want it done tomorrow, civil servants don't work like that. There are procedures.
But it's this same bureaucratic system that is hampering development.
But that's what makes the civil service work. So your policies must fit into that. For example, if you want to talk about procurement, as a businessman, you'll probably sit in a boardroom and make a decision and say, okay, procurement, go and do this and go and do that and go and do that. You expect the results within a week, tomorrow. In the civil service, no. ZPPA will come in and they'll tell you, no, in every ministry, we have given you a procurement officer. He must sit. He must take down minutes. And he must align himself to the rules of the game. Why? Because he's watching the minister, he's watching the PS, he's watching the various directors. We don't want this, because this, if we give it up, it will be a crack for corruption. Now, you don't want the directors just coming nilly-willy and saying, we have a need. There'll be needs every day. Before you know it, there'll be no budget, because everybody will be stealing. So the civil service is there to check on government.
Let's talk about, your, before we get to other matters, your aspirations as well. You've played a key role. In my introduction, I've indicated that many have described you as a kingmaker. Right. Involved in the making of presidents. Michael Sata, you were the campaign manager in 2011 for Michael Chilufya Sata. You were behind the scenes, Edgar Lungu. You were behind the scenes, of HH to point. You were partners with President Hakainde Hichilema. Many have said you are not a trustworthy politician, and that's why all these people that you have helped, become presidents, always leave you in the fence, because there's something faulty about you. What is it that makes all these people, after they assume the office that you helped, them to get to, they leave you outside the yard? What exactly
I think
is the problem? Because even in 2021, there were huge rumors, and I would like you to clarify that. There were huge rumors that you specifically wanted to be Minister of Justice, and once that was not given to you, you fumed.
I've never asked for a job. I've never asked for a job. Go back to what our forefathers were. Sacrifice. You understand where I'm coming from? I learned that.
You've been sacrificing?
Yes, I learned that from a very tender age. You need to say to yourself, now is not my time, but I can help this person. I started helping Basata way back, as early as 2001, 2002. My office was at EW Tari, along Cairo Road. Basata's office was at Farmer's House. We were opposite each other, diagonally opposite each other. Many people may not know that. He used to consult a lot. Sometimes he'd just send for me, sometimes he'd walk across. That continued. And when I realized that Basata was being cheated out of winning elections, we had to go full time and full throttle to assist him. There is nothing wrong as a patriot, as a Zambian, to choose a side and say, this is wrong and I'm going to help this person. I wish Basata were alive today. He would tell you, I never asked for a job.
But no.
No, let me finish. Yes. I'm enjoying answering your question.
Yeah.
I never asked for that job. Basata and my colleagues, we had an agreement. And the agreement was, in 2016, we're coming to join you. Lo and behold, God calls him in 2014. I was one of the first 4 people ECL called to Lewanika House when he was just a minister. He was acting president. To go and meet him, to be told Basata has died in London. Why did he call me?
Among the first 4?
Among the first 4 people he called. I was picked up from home to go to his house. Why did he call me? Ability. And he knew I would sacrifice for him. Long story short, we built his candidature. We made him a candidate. And he won in 2015 and in 2016. When it came to 2021, lo and behold, 2020, they expelled me from PF. What happened? I told them, Mukashara muri mwamunini. Do you know what holds the base of the pot? When you open it, the water runs out. The people in PF didn't understand why ECO called me as one of the first people when Basata died. I was elections manager. I knew how to strategize.
Many have said you're a good strategist.
Exactly. So the point is, when they said remove him, they became selfish. The PF became selfish, and they said they saw me as a stumbling block. Remove him. Fast forward.
No, this time, just there. Why did they see you as a stumbling block?
Because when I am doing something, I have perimeters, and I operate within the perimeters. And one of the perimeters was 2021. I told the late president to his face, "You can't stand. This is a 3rd term." What do you mean? I said, the Constitution, unfortunately, doesn't allow you. But KBF, I said, no. You can't. We had a difference. The Central Committee then decided I'm an impediment. So they removed me, thinking they will score. But they have removed the strategist. So they went thinking they'll use money, they'll use numbers, whatever. They lost. One of the statements that may so rest in peace, the late 6th Republican president said to me when we were reconciling, may God rest him well. He said to me...
When was the reconciliation?
Just before he died.
Okay. When you traveled?
No, even before that.
Okay.
I was meeting him here before I traveled. But one of the things he said to me was, "You've proved your point." I said, "What do you mean by president?" And he said, "Well, some of my friends who thought we could do without you have realized we can't do without you. So you don't have to prove anything now. Come back. We need to work together." But I told him, now I'm a president of a political party. He says, "That's why I want you to join Tonse. You have to come back. You have to help us." He recognized. And I salute him because at least he recognized I have ability. Some of the people in PF saw me as a stumbling block, but the main man recognized, without this man, there's a problem. Just like my friend, the president of the day today, realized we need that guy. Why? I had been expelled from PF, and people in PF most times want to gloss over this thing. It's like you're a footballer. When your contract runs out and your team doesn't renew, you're a freelance. You're a free agent. You can join anybody. So at that time, I had no team to play for. So when HH came and said, "Mwana, help me," what was I supposed to do? Now they want to cry that, no, I told them. Mukashala muri Mwamoneni. And the Mwamoneni came. I went to play on the other side. They lost. You can't take ability from somebody when it's inbuilt. Ability is inbuilt. And today I am saying, let's work around this subject together. We have seen some wrongs within UPND. It's time to rectify and correct the mistakes we made. This is one of the mistakes. The UPND is a mistake. It's an experiment which is a failed project, and we must kick it out.
Something that you supported in 2021.
Yes.
That's being hypocritical, Mr. President.
No.
Because just a few years ago, you told the Zambians.
Let's use the correct words.
You told the Zambians that this is the right party to use.
Correct.
The right vehicle to use.
Yes, because
today it's a failed project.
Yes, and I'll explain. The reason for it is Hakainde Hichilema lied to my face. You were not there when I had those 11 meetings with him at his house. It was me he was lying to. I know the lies he told me. So I know why I moved away from him. Number two, and most importantly, come on. If circumstances change, do you want me to keep holding on to something which I know is a failed project? You're not being real. Be real. And the Zambians know. Circumstances change. These are two facts which are constant between you and me. Time, you have. Change, we both have. So when times change, change happens. I've got to look at that in the eye and say, yes, I am not going to support something, just like I supported ECL. Okay? When you wanted to go for a third term, I said no. Is that being hypocritical? So it's being principled. Let's use the right words.
So it's not being hypocritical,
it's being principled. You walk away when something is bad. Hakainde Hichilema lied to the Zambians, and the Zambians know he's a liar today. That's being principled. It's not being hypocritical. What is being hypocritical is to keep pretending everything is okay.
Would you have said this if you are given a ministerial job, for example?
I didn't want a job.
Were you offered one?
Yes, I was.
You were offered a job?
Yes. Yes, go and ask him. I said no. Just like Lungu offered me a job, I said no.
Even Edgar Lungu offered you a job?
Yes. And if you know the right people to talk to, they'll tell you the right thing. Go and ask Amos Chanda. Go and ask Wamaewa Inongewina. Go and ask. There are people who are still, they've got the history. Go and ask.
Why were you refusing?
Maybe it was God's providence. I didn't want to be part of it.
So it's only Sata that didn't offer you a job?
No, Sata Tuamfwene in 2016. He died in 2014. What was I supposed to do? What was I supposed to do? You remember those statements Wasata began to make. Some of my own MPs are useless. I want to adopt them in 2016. He was preparing ground.
2006?
No, then I didn't want a job. No. Truth be told. We were just helping him. I was a practicing lawyer. I was full-time in law. So I was happy with my money. I was happy with what I was doing. I was okay.
So it's not that we're learning now that you've been offered jobs by Edgar Lungu, you offered jobs
people
by
know, people
by
know.
No, the Zambians don't know, because the Zambians have been wondering
I don't have to sing.
Why you've not been, because that's a narrative that some of your critics use, that you are not a reliable person. Even now that you want to run for presidency, some of your critics say, look, every other person dumps him after using him.
No. Ask them why. What are they scared of? If they're scared of my ability, is that my problem? If they're scared of my principles, is that my problem? It's not about being dumped, it's about walking away.
Not being dumped?
No one dumped me. Why did Edgar Lungu call me when Wasata died? Why did HH call for me to help him if he didn't want my help? He knew when this guy comes, we've got the right team. We've got a Guardiola here. Things will work. You understand? That's how it works. If he knew he was going to win without me, why did he call for me?
You don't have won without you?
Go and ask him.
What do you think? You don't have won?
We're going to 2026. I'm not with him. Watch this space. I'm not with him.
So it's not going to
I'm with the Zambians now. So watch this space. I'm with the Zambians.
Many say that you take quite miscalculated steps in your political journey, and I'm using the words of your critics now here, trying to get your thoughts, because look, you always seem, you're a strategist, they say, but your strategies don't work for your benefit. Look, even the case of ECL's death is one example where you prematurely, in others say it was a premature announcement that ECL anointed me, to be the torchbearer, to be the one to succeed him. I'm the anointed. We saw those words coming from your mouth.
No, don't lie to the Zambians. I've never said that. That came from South Africa, from some reporters in South Africa, not me. I've been asked, not on this program, other forums, were you anointed by ECL? My answer has always been, let's discuss that when we bury ECL.
If it's not true, you can easily say, even before we bury ECL, this information is not true. You don't have to wait until ECL is buried for you to say whether the reporter was lying or saying the truth.
Paul, I don't know how old you are, but I'm an African. There are certain things we don't discuss until tuashika. You understand?
The patriotic fund themselves are saying they're even going ahead with the convention, even if ECL is not buried by the end of the year. So you are failing, you've been failing, Mr. President, to clarify this aspect. You've been hiding in the name of, I'll answer that after we bury.
No, I'll answer this question this way. You say I'm a poor judge. When I worked with ECL, did he win elections? Yes. When I worked with SATA, did he win elections? Yes. When I worked with HH, did he win elections? Yes. That's a poor judge? That's a poor strategist? Don't feed the Zambian people the wrong thing. The Zambian people know who I am. The Zambian people know what I'm capable of doing. So don't feed this narrative. Whoever you're listening to, whoever those critics are, go and ask them. Which team has he played for and he has lost elections? None. Do you call that person a wrong strategist? A wrong player? No. But ask if the players have been wrong. That's another story. Do your investigative journalism. Go and investigate.
So you've told the Zambians right now that the team you told them to support is actually a failed project now.
Yes.
The UPND.
Yes.
The team that a strategist told the Zambians that was a good project.
Because the player who was supposed to take the penalty lied. I'm human. You can lie to me. Just like you can lie to your girlfriend. You understand? So this is life.
I don't have one.
Oh,
that's for the record.
Thank you.
Just for the record. But look, maybe we need to dig a bit deeper, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
And maybe, have you taken introspection to see maybe you're better off being a kingmaker and not being the king yourself? Have you thought about that?
Yes, I have. And for me to arrive at this position, I've realized that sometimes there are certain things you have to do yourself. And one of them is this now.
The kingmaker wants to be a king himself now.
Because I know what to do. I have a manifesto. I have a clear head. I know what I want to do. I know what the Zambians want. And if people are failing the Zambians, it's time to help the Zambians. The country comes first. So for me, I want to help the Zambians. There's nothing wrong with that decision. Nothing wrong at all.
So this where is this vision coming from? Yes, we know Zambia must prosper. We've looked at your manifesto in detail, analyzed it. Where is this vision coming from, especially after being behind the scenes, making kings become leaders, formulating strategies? Now the strategist want to utilize the same strategy for himself. Where is it birthed from?
Thank you very much. I've been pregnant with a lot of ideas. I've been pregnant with a lot of things that I would like to see happen for my country. And sometimes when you pass ideas to people when they're sitting in authority, there are ideas they can't understand, they can't appreciate, or sometimes it's a question of things get clogged up somewhere along the way. Instead of executing an idea in the manner you envisaged it, it's diverted or misinterpreted or misunderstood. So why not do it yourself? There's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with you, the vision carrier, saying, I want to do this. Remember, vision is given to one person. It's not given to a group, a choir, or a team. It's given to one person. So when you try to permeate your vision into another person and the execution is wrong, do it yourself.
You are invited by ACL to be part of the Tonse Alliance.
Tonse, yes.
You have been playing a critical role in the formulation and establishment of that alliance. We have seen it going into shambles with conflicts, factions being created. Of course, you've seen some form of reconciliation on social media between the two warring parties. What is your general view, especially that you've been involved in the formulation and establishment of Tonse Alliance, these squabbles that have been going on between Given Lubinda, Sean Tembo, Dr. Chris Zumani? What are your thoughts? We've seen some meetings being held right, in your office.
Yes.
The strategist himself,
yes.
Trying to build Tonse. What has been going on, and what's your view over these conflicts?
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I don't see any factions.
Okay.
No, I see one Tonse.
Maybe now that they've reconciled.
No. Even before. There's always been one Tonse. But I'll say this for the benefit of the Zambians and for your benefit. Whenever two forces are coming together, expect friction. It's normal. Whenever you're going to have 2 groups of people, 3 groups of people, 4 groups of people coming together, expect tension. It is a normal phenomenon. Like I keep saying, I don't know how old you were when MMD was being formed. Okay? But when we went to the Garden House Forum, Chiluba wasn't there. Are you aware? There were big guns there, big names. Humphrey Mulemba, Edward Jack Shamwana, Kriston Tembo, Mianda, the winners, big guns. Chiluba was in Ndola. Frictions were there. There was tension. But the kingmakers, the VJs, the Akashambatwas, Bodwin Nkumbula, the Young Turks, Derek Chitala, the thinkers realized we need somebody who can beat Kaunda. We just don't need a name. Also, the forefathers at the time, 1990-91, looked at themselves and they realized, if we miss this penalty, Kaunda kesa tunyankula. Remember the history I told you. He used to arrest people using the preservation of public security. People got scared. So at that time, they needed someone who was not scared of Kaunda, but who could galvanize and bring people and give them a way forward. That is how Chiluba's name was proposed. A delegation was sent to go and get Chiluba. What am I saying? In this format, don't think when MMD was being formed there was no tension. There was. Don't think when they were coming together there were no disputes, there were no cartels. There were. That's why we should always learn from our history. I'm repeating this. It's important to use that experience. So even now, these things you're calling factions, they are not there. But are there differences of opinion? Yes. Are there differences in procedure? Yes. Are there differences in approach? Yes. But not factions. There's only one Tonse. And we shall resolve these things. Some of us are experienced enough to know that all it takes is a sit down and talk. Are they character? Egos? Yes. Are they insurmountable? No. So what we need is a sit down. And this is what you've seen.
There have been sit downs. There have been sit downs.
Yes. But Paul, Rome wasn't built in a day. And things like this are not resolved over 1 minute, one meeting. No, Paul. Let's not misuse what a meeting is supposed to resolve. Sometimes you can have a meeting and I say, go and sleep over it. I also sleep over it. We can meet again. There are also people in this country who are involved in trying to resolve this matter behind the scenes. People you may not see. People you may not know. They're talking to some of us. talking to some of my brothers, and we're all trying to rally and make sure we arrive at the same destination. So the factions are not there. A difference of opinion, yes.
Can Tonse be regarded as one tool that can be used to change government next year? What do you think that the Zambians should be able to be in a place where they can trust Tonse to be used as an alternative government 2026?
With time, yes. But let me say this. Tonse is not a legal entity. So let's not give the Zambians the sense that Tonse will be on the ballot. No. But Tonse has got political parties within itself. So the first thing we need to do is find a special purpose vehicle within Tonse, which we're going to use.
You're going to find? I thought it's already found.
No. You know that Peter Chanda walked out. NCP walked out. So now we have amongst the political parties on the table to look for another special purpose vehicle. So once we find this vehicle...
He didn't say he walked out. He said he's taking a back seat, but he's still part of Tonse. Maybe that...
But he has removed his party.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah, maybe that's information that we're learning now, that he has officially removed his party from being used as a special purpose vehicle.
Thank you. So we need now to find another special purpose.
So you're confirming that?
I am telling you, go and read the statement. I don't have to tell you this thing.
It's vague. The statement is there. It's vague. It's not saying anything much. He's just saying he's taking a back.
You should have called him here to ask him. Paul, call him here. Don't ask me. Me, I'm telling you what I know. Okay? So we need this special purpose vehicle, first of all. Second, we will look for the leadership. And then we'll look for the message. There's already a committee, for instance, which has been put together within Tonse to harmonize the various manifestos of the political parties. That's the message. The leadership, each political party has got a leader. We are going to agree who's going to lead Tonse. So all these things are in the pipeline. The problem is I'm sorry, I'm using the terminology you as in the young people, are too much in a hurry. We don't want something that is going to crack. We need something ichakosa. Tentupange chakosa. But in between and amongst ourselves, we also know we've got people like my young brother Bino Upnd. He's got a movement. Okay? We've got my young brother Kenneth Mwenda. He's got a movement. We can't ignore that. We have to bring these people on board because we need to move together. There are other political parties that are coming. Okay? We need to engage them and see where they are at and whether or not they would like to work with us. So we can't have a closed shop. So that openness requires a bit of time. It's not going to be open-ended, but it's time for us to come together and put the views so that the Zambians understand this is now what we're going to do. But to say Tonse will be on the ballot, no. One of the political parties will be a special purpose vehicle, leadership will be found, a message, and then we'll begin to move.
10 months to the elections, this is when the message is about to be crafted, the message to sell
the message is
to the Zambians.
Paul,
no, you're just saying that
I am saying
you craft the message because you're studying now the manifestos, using your own words, studying the manifestos of different political parties and come up with a message. But so the message for the Zambians is not there yet.
No. If the manifestos are there and you find, for instance, you people, you are the ones with the AIs, huh? Yeah, so if my manifesto of Zambia must prosper is here, PEP's manifesto is here, PF's manifesto is there, and whoever, and we put them in an AI thing, they'll tell us which are the common places. How long does that take? Come on. It's not going to be forever.
Because right now, and this is very important, many Zambians, are wondering that the only thing they keep hearing from the opposition leaders is HH must go, HH needs to leave, we need new leaders. But they're not hearing what these alternatives are bringing on the table.
It's a very important question that you brought up. But 10 months is a long time for us to agree and resolve our differences. Okay? When MMD, again I'll go into history, was being formed, how long did it take before they got into government? Months. When Basata died, the constitution at the time gave us 90 days to find a candidate, get him into an elective opposition. We had at the time in PF, find a candidate, go for a convention within the 30 days. Even with the differences that guys scored, Mao Sampa were trying to create, we found a candidate. and we put ECL there. Within 29 days, we were able to campaign and we got him into office. These things are not insurmountable. We've done them before.
Yeah, it was someone can argue that PF was in government then, so it wasn't as difficult as it was in 1991.
No. But the MMD story, MMD was not in government.
Yeah, so maybe that's the only exception.
But how many months? That's the only history we have to go by. So do you have any other history in Zambia? I'm telling you what's happened before, and it can be done. And I was part of the legal team in MMD, remember that? So we know how to work. We know what to do.
So time is still there for...
No, plenty of time. To get UPN out of power, there's plenty of time.
Because...
just relax.
The argument...
Bola Panshi.
The argument has always been that, look...
No.
At presidential level...
Don't give the Zambians the impression there is no time. Bola Panshi.
But
this is just a penalty. We just need the striker to shoot. When we're in place, we are willing to attack. We've been attacking on the left and right flanks. Now there's a foul in the penalty.
You've not been participating
No. There's a foul in the...
Once you've been
Listen to me.
You've been losing terribly as opposition.
No. By elections.
That is an acid test. You are a strategist. You know that the acid test to determine your popularity is through elections.
You know, I feel sorry for you and you're thinking at the moment. Please, don't give the Zambians that impression. PF won all his by-elections leading up to 2021, all of them. Did they win the elections? Did they win the elections? So don't use that as a measure. No. We've been around. We know. And when we need to score, we score. We know what to do. I want to assure the Zambians we're scoring.
As we wrap up,
yes,
in conclusion, Mr. President, I would like to pick your thoughts on the delayed impasse, surrounding the barrier of ECL. We're getting into 5 months and next week or so of ECL not being buried. 1 month short of being half a year before ECL, our former Republican president, is buried. What's your thought around this as we wrap up? Director has hinted to me that my time is up.
I'm sorry about the time. It's unfortunate that we have failed to bury our 6th Republican president in such a long period of time. But I think most of this has been caused by the government. The government must have played big brother to the family, but tensions arose, suspicions arose, mistrust, etc. But I believe that ECL will be buried. For now, the matter is in court. I would rather leave it there. It's sub judice. Yeah.
So, President, thank you so much for finding time to come through on matters. All right.
Thank you very much, Paul. Let's talk again.
Indeed.
Yes.
That's why we wrap up tonight's edition of Matters. Arise. My guest, Kelvin Fube Bwalya, President of Zambia Must Prosper. On behalf of the entire production crew, I've been your host. My name is Paul Shingonga. Good night.
Good night.